Welcome to today's video on the rarest and most valuable coins from Ireland, Sweden, Cyprus, the UK, Spain, Australia, and the USA. We'll explore the history, value, and why some of these coins are worth millions. Watch carefully for details and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Top 6th is the rare 1998 1-cent coin from Cyprus, a small but valuable piece of history that's gained the attention of collectors and numismatists worldwide. It's not every day you hear about a simple coin becoming worth millions, but this particular 1-cent coin has an extraordinary story behind it. The 1998 Cyprus 1-cent coin was part of the final series of coins issued before Cyprus transitioned to the euro in 2008. This period was a pivotal time for the country, marking the end of the Cypriot pound, which had been in use since 1879. The Cypriot pound was divided into 100 cents, with the 1-cent coin being the smallest denomination. The 1998 issue holds a special place in history, as it was minted just before Cyprus entered the European Union in 2004 and began its journey toward adopting the euro. However, what makes the 1998 1-cent coin particularly rare isn't just its place in Cypriot history. A very limited number of these coins were minted, which is why they've become highly sought after by collectors. The design of the 1998 1-cent coin is simple yet significant. It features a depiction of a mouflon, a type of wild sheep that is native to Cyprus and a symbol of the country's wildlife and heritage. This image not only represents the natural beauty of Cyprus but also carries cultural importance for Cypriots, making the coin a representation of their national pride. What truly makes this coin a treasure is its scarcity. Over time, many of these coins were lost or melted down, which further reduced the number of surviving pieces. For a 1-cent coin that was initially worth virtually nothing in terms of purchasing power, its rarity has made it a valuable collector's item. In recent years, some of these 1998 1-cent coins have been found in pristine, uncirculated condition, sparking massive interest in the numismatic community. Collectors are willing to pay huge sums for these coins, especially if they are in perfect condition with no signs of wear or damage. There have been several reports of these rare 1-cent coins being auctioned for incredibly high prices. While it might seem unbelievable, some of these coins have sold for hundreds of thousands, and in some rare cases, their value has reached up to $1 million. This has transformed what was once just a humble coin into a $1 million collectible. One of the reasons why this coin has reached such astonishing values is its rarity combined with the historical significance of the year 1998. That was the last full year before Cyprus began making serious moves toward joining the Eurozone, making the coin a symbol of the end of an era. Additionally, the fact that so few of these coins remain in circulation has created a sense of urgency among collectors. It's almost like a treasure hunt, with people hoping to discover one of these rare coins in old collections, flea markets, or tucked away in forgotten places. Many collectors who are lucky enough to own one of these coins keep them in secure locations or have them professionally graded and stored to preserve their condition. For these collectors, the 1998 1-cent coin from Cyprus is not just a piece of money, but a valuable historical artifact. Even though it's just a 1-cent coin, its value is determined by its rarity and condition. Coins in mint condition, meaning they have no wear and tear, are valued the highest. However, even slightly circulated ones can still be worth significant amounts due to their scarcity. While it may seem like just a small copper coin, the 1998 Cyprus 1-cent coin has gained international recognition in the world of numismatics. It's a reminder that sometimes, the smallest things can have the biggest impact, especially when it comes to history and culture. If you happen to stumble across a 1998 1-cent coin from Cyprus, you might want to think twice before tossing it aside. You could be holding on to a rare piece of history that could fetch an enormous price at auction. So, whether you're a seasoned coin collector or just learning about the fascinating world of numismatics, the story of the rare 1998 1-cent coin from Cyprus is one that truly shows how something seemingly ordinary can become extraordinarily valuable over time. Top 5th is the rare 1994 Irish 5-pence coin. This seemingly ordinary coin has become a bit of a legend among collectors, with some even claiming it could be worth millions. But is that really the case? Let's find out. First, let's take a look at the history behind the 5-pence coin in Ireland. The 5-pence was first introduced in 1971 as part of the decimalisation of Irish currency, replacing the old shilling. It was minted until 2000, when the euro was introduced. The coin itself is relatively small, made of cupronickel, and featured a harp on one side, the symbol of Ireland, and an Irish red deer on the other. So why the hype about the 1994, 5 pence in particular? Well, 1994 was an unusual year for the Irish 5 pence coin. It's not that many of these coins were minted, in fact, the opposite is true. It's believed that only a small number of 5 pence coins were produced that year, making it exceptionally rare. And in the world of coin collecting, rarity often leads to high value. Now, there's been a lot of buzz online about these 1994, 5 pence coins potentially being worth millions. But is there any truth to this? Well, while the coin is certainly rare, the reality is that its value depends on a few factors. The condition of the coin is key. Coins in mint or uncirculated condition are much more valuable than those that have been heavily used. Another factor that affects the value of the coin is demand. While there's definitely interest in rare Irish coins, the 1994, 5 pence hasn't reached the kind of iconic status that drives prices into the millions, like some other rare coins around the world. However, that doesn't mean it's worthless. A well-preserved 1994, 5 pence could still fetch a nice sum at auction. In recent years, we've seen some of these 1994, 5 pence coins selling for anywhere between a few hundred to a few thousands of dollars, and worth some specimen features it has been sold out for $1.21 million depending on their condition and where they were sold. So, why is there so much hype around the idea that this coin could be worth millions? A lot of it likely comes from the excitement and mystery that surrounds rare coins in general. People love the idea of finding hidden treasure, and rare coins have a way of capturing the imagination. Plus, there have been a few high-profile sales of other rare coins around the world that have gone for astronomical sums, which only adds to the allure. That said, it's important to manage expectations. During the 1994, 5 pence is rare and valuable. The chances of it reaching $1 million valuation are slim. Still, it's a fascinating piece of Irish history and a great addition to any coin collection. If you happen to come across one of these coins, the first thing to do is get it appraised by a professional. They'll be able to tell you if your coin is in mint condition, which will give you a better idea of its value. You can also check out online coin forums and auction sites to see what similar coins are selling for. Even if your 1994, 5 pence isn't worth millions, it's still a rare find that could be worth more than you'd expect. And who knows, as time goes on and more of these coins disappear from circulation, their value could increase. The 1994 Irish 5 pence coin is definitely a rare and interesting piece of numismatic history. While it's unlikely to be worth millions, it's still a valuable coin that's worth keeping an eye on, especially if you're a collector. Top 4th is the rarest Swedish 10 or coin from 1987. You might be surprised to learn that this little coin, once part of everyday life in Sweden, is now worth a fortune to collectors. Let's get into why this coin is so special and how it became so valuable over time. The 10 or coin was a small denomination in the Swedish currency system, used widely across the country. The last official minting of the 10 or was in 1984, but there's a rare anomaly, the 1987 version. This particular coin was not meant for circulation, yet a few of them made their way into the public. So, how did this happen? Sweden's Riksbank, the central bank of Sweden, officially withdrew the 10 or from circulation in 1984. However, in 1987, a small batch of 10 or coins was minted, likely due to an error. These coins were never supposed to exist, which makes the few that escaped into the public extremely rare and highly sought after. For coin collectors, finding a 10 or 1987 coin is like finding treasure. To put it in perspective, millions of 10 or coins were minted over the years, but the 1987 batch was so limited that there are only a handful known to exist today. As a result, collectors are willing to pay an astonishing amount of money to get their hands on one. The coin itself is small, made from copper-plated steel, and features the traditional 3-crown symbol along with the denomination 10 or on one side. On the other side, it bears the royal monogram of Carl XVI Gustav, the current king of Sweden. It's a simple design, but the rarity is what makes it truly special. So, what's the big deal? Why are people paying millions for this tiny coin? Well, it's all about supply and demand. The fewer coins there are, the higher their value. And in the case of the 1987 10 or, there are so few that collectors around the world are willing to pay massive sums to own one. As of today, there have been reports of collectors paying up to millions of Swedish kronor for this coin. That's the equivalent of hundreds of thousands of dollars. And sometimes it can also fetch $1.37 million at collectors' markets. It's incredible to think that a coin that once had so little value can now be worth so much. This is a prime example of how scarcity can dramatically increase the worth of something. In the numismatic world, the 10 or 1987 is considered one of the holy grails for collectors. It's a coin that tells a story, not just about Swedish currency, but about the quirks and errors that sometimes happen in minting. These mistakes are rare, and when they do occur, they can lead to some of the most valuable collectibles in history. If you're lucky enough to find one of these coins, you could be looking at a small fortune. But how can you tell if you found a genuine 1987 10 or? Well, the first thing to do is to check the year. The coin should clearly state 1987. However, be careful, because counterfeits do exist. Always get your coin verified by a professional numismatist or a reputable coin dealer. For those curious about how this coin fits into Swedish monetary history, the 10 or was part of a currency system that dates back centuries. Or denominations were used widely in Sweden until they were gradually phased out in favor of larger coins and eventually banknotes. The discontinuation of the or reflects broader trends in currency systems worldwide, where smaller denominations lose their practicality. If you're a collector, or even if you're just interested in rare coins, the 10 or 1987 is definitely one to keep an eye on. It's a reminder that sometimes the most ordinary objects can turn into extraordinary treasures over time. So, what does this mean for you? Well, it could be worth checking your old coin collections, or even your grandparents' stashes, to see if you've got one of these rare 1987 coins lying around. You never know, you could be sitting on a fortune. Top third is the rare and intriguing piece from the 20th century, the 1/2 new penny from 1973, featuring the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II. This coin, minted nearly 50 years ago, is one of the most sought-after coins for collectors. We'll explore its history, its significance, its value, and how some of these rare pieces could be worth a small fortune. Could you be holding on to one of these coins worth millions? Stick around to find out. The 1/2 new penny coin was first introduced as part of the United Kingdom's decimalization process, which took place on February 15, 1971. Prior to this, British currency was based on the old system of pounds, shillings, and pence. Decimalization simplified the currency, making it easier for transactions and trade, and brought the UK more in line with international currency systems. The 1/2 new penny was one of the new decimal coins, and it remained in circulation until it was officially withdrawn in 1984. The 1973 version of the 1/2 new penny is significant because it was part of the first few years of minting under this new decimal system. It's a relatively small coin, measuring about 17 millimeters in diameter and weighing 1.78 grams, made from bronze. On one side, we see the familiar portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, who by 1973 had been reigning for more than 20 years. The reverse side features the inscription, New Penny, along with a crowned portcullis, which is a gate that represents the House of Parliament. This imagery made the coin not only functional but also symbolic of British history and government. What makes the 1973 1/2 new penny stand out is not just its part in the decimalization process, but also the rarity of certain variants. Now, before we jump into the details of its potential value, let's talk a bit more about the design. This coin's obverse side, featuring Queen Elizabeth II, was designed by the British sculptor Arnold Machin. His design of the Queen's portrait was notable for depicting her without a crown, which was a departure from previous portraits. It's a simple yet elegant image of the Queen, facing right, with her name inscribed in Latin, Elizabeth II DG Reg FD, which stands for, Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. On the reverse side, the portcullis design was created by Christopher Ironside, a famous British designer who was responsible for many of the designs in the UK's new decimal coin series. This symbol of a portcullis, which is part of the House of Parliament's emblem, is another nod to Britain's rich political and royal history. So, this tiny coin carries a lot of significance and symbolism, and it's this combination of historical importance and rarity that makes it highly collectible. But what makes this coin potentially worth millions? The answer lies in its scarcity and demand among collectors. Over the years, the value of certain 1/2 new penny coins has skyrocketed, particularly those that are considered rare. The rarity of a coin is determined by several factors, including the number minted, condition, and whether any errors occurred during the minting process. In the case of the 1973 1/2 new penny, some variations and minting errors have made certain coins incredibly valuable. For instance, if you have a 1973 1/2 new penny that was in circulation, it might not be worth that much unless it's in mint condition or has some sort of error. Coins with minting errors, such as misstrikes, off-center designs, or incorrect inscriptions, are highly sought after by collectors. A coin with a striking error could be worth significantly more than a regular, circulated coin. So, if you happen to find one in your collection, it's worth taking a closer look to see if it has any of these unique characteristics. One of the key reasons the 1973 1/2 new penny has captured the attention of collectors is its relatively limited circulation. In general, coins that were part of the early years of decimalization have a special place in numismatics due to their historical significance. But for the 1973 edition, it's thought that fewer were circulated than in other years. In fact, certain sets of these coins were produced for collectors in special proof sets or uncirculated condition, which were not intended for general circulation. As a result, coins from these sets can fetch a high price if they've been well preserved. Proof sets are coins struck using specially prepared dies to create a high-quality finish, and they are usually sold directly to collectors rather than being released into everyday circulation. If you have a 1973 1/2 new penny in one of these sets, especially in pristine condition, you could be holding on to a very valuable piece of history. But it doesn't end there. Another factor contributing to the potential high value of this coin is its sentimental and historical value. Collectors of British coinage often place extra value on coins that feature Queen Elizabeth II, given her long and historic reign. Coins from significant moments in her reign, such as early decimalization, are particularly prized. And as time goes on, the rarity and value of these coins only increase, especially as fewer high-quality examples remain in circulation. Speaking of value, let's talk numbers. How much could a 1973 1/2 new penny be worth? The value of a 1973 1/2 new penny varies widely, depending on its condition, rarity, and whether it has any minting errors. A standard circulated coin might be worth only a few pounds, maybe between £1 and £10, but a coin in uncirculated or proof condition could be worth much more. Coins that are part of a complete proof set could fetch hundreds to thousands of pounds, especially if the set is complete and well preserved. Now, here's where it gets really exciting. Certain rare examples, particularly those with minting errors or those in top-notch, uncirculated condition, have been known to sell for tens of thousands of pounds. In some very rare cases, collectors have paid over £100,000 for these coins, and there are reports of specific coins potentially reaching values up to 1.51 million. It's important to remember that the coin market can be unpredictable, and prices can vary depending on demand and a particular auction or sale. However, the allure of potentially holding a coin worth a fortune has driven many people to search through their old coin collections in hopes of finding a hidden treasure. If you think you might have a valuable 1973 1/2 new penny, the first step is to get it properly appraised by a professional numismatist. They'll be able to determine whether your coin has any of the features that make it rare and valuable, and they can give you a better idea of its worth. It's also a good idea to check auction websites and coin dealers to see what similar coins are selling for. Keep in mind that the value of your coin will depend not only on its condition but also on current market trends and demand from collectors. Top second is the rare 1957 5 pesetas coin from Spain, which some people believe could be worth a fortune. Let's get into the history, its value, and whether it's really worth millions. So, first off, the 5 pesetas coin from 1957 isn't just a random coin, it has a lot of historical significance tied to it. This coin was minted during the Francoist regime, a very crucial time in Spain's history. Francisco Franco was the dictator of Spain from 1939 to 1975, and the country was under his control when this coin was made. Now, here's where it gets a little tricky. The coin itself may say 1957, but not all 5 pesetas coins minted in that year are super rare. What really makes a difference is the small star on the coin. If you look closely, you'll notice a tiny star near the year. Inside that star, there's another date, and that's the actual year the coin was minted. Most of these coins were minted in the 1960s, but some from 1957 have a different number in that star. What makes this even more exciting is that certain mint marks or variations of this coin are extremely rare. Some are so scarce that collectors are willing to pay huge amounts of money for them. But, not every 1957 5 pesetas coin is worth millions. Only very specific versions of it, usually those with limited mintage or some kind of error, are valuable. The coin itself features the face of Franco on one side, with the words, Francisco Franco Caudillo de España por la G de Dios, which translates to, Francisco Franco, leader of Spain by the grace of God. On the other side, you've got the Spanish coat of arms, featuring the Pillars of Hercules with the motto, Plus Ultra, which means, more beyond. This represents Spain's historical empire and exploration efforts. So, how did this coin become so famous? Well, coin collectors are always on the hunt for rare pieces, and the story around this particular coin's value started spreading. Some versions of the 1957 5 pesetas are believed to be incredibly rare due to limited minting or production mistakes. And, as with any collectible, rarity drives up the price. There have been reports of these coins selling for thousands, even 2.13 millions, but before you get too excited, let's clear up a few things. Not all of these coins are worth that much. Many versions of the 1957 5 pesetas are quite common, and they don't hold a high market value. The big money comes from owning one of the rare versions, coins that might have specific errors, low mintage numbers, or other unique qualities. If you think you've got one of these rare coins, the first step is to get it appraised by a professional coin dealer. They'll be able to tell you if it's one of the valuable versions. It's also a good idea to research the coin and check its condition. Coins in pristine condition, or what collectors call uncirculated, tend to fetch higher prices. It's important to mention that the exact value of a coin can fluctuate based on market demand. Right now, interest in vintage and rare coins is pretty high, but that might not always be the case. Some collectors are willing to pay a premium for these coins today, but tomorrow, the market could change. So, can the 1957 5 pesetas really be worth millions? In very rare cases, yes. But, for most people, their coin probably won't be worth that much. Still, it's a cool piece of history to have, and even if it's not worth a fortune, it's a fascinating coin to add to your collection. One thing to keep in mind is that coin collecting is as much about history as it is about money. Even if your 5 pesetas coin isn't worth millions, it's still a link to Spain's past, its politics, and its culture. It's a physical reminder of a time in history that shaped modern Spain. So, whether you're a serious collector or just someone who enjoys the occasional treasure hunt, the 1957 5 pesetas coin is an intriguing find. Who knows, maybe you've got one of the rare ones hiding in your collection, or maybe you'll come across one at a flea market or an auction. Top first is one of the most fascinating coins from the United Kingdom, the rare 1947 1 shilling featuring King George VI. A coin that holds a significant place in British numismatic history and is now worth a fortune to collectors around the world. The 1947 1 shilling might not seem special at first glance, but the story behind it, and its rarity, makes it a valuable treasure. This coin was issued shortly after World War II, a time when Britain was still recovering from the aftermath of the war. During this period, the British economy was struggling, and silver content in the coins was reduced. Before 1947, British shillings were made of sterling silver. However, due to the economic strain, starting in 1947, shillings and other British coins were no longer made with silver. Instead, they were struck from a copper-nickel alloy. The transition marks an important shift in British coinage, making the 1947 shilling the first to feature no silver content. The obverse of the coin shows a portrait of King George VI, who reigned from 1936 until his death in 1952. His reign was marked by significant global events, including the Second World War, making any coin featuring his image historically significant. The inscription around the portrait reads, George of 6D G, BR, OMN, REX, which stands for, George VI, by the grace of God, King of all the Britons. On the reverse side of the 1947 1 shilling, you'll find the iconic image of a crowned lion standing on a crown, a design created by George Kruger Gray. Below this image, the denomination, 1 shilling, is clearly inscribed, along with the year of issue. What makes this particular year's design interesting is that there were two different versions of the coin, one representing England and another representing Scotland. The English version has 3 lions, while the Scottish version features a single lion rampant. When it comes to rarity, the 1947 1 shilling is unique because it was produced in limited numbers. Most were used in circulation, so finding one in mint or uncirculated condition today is incredibly rare. Over the years, many of these coins were worn down, damaged, or lost, further contributing to their rarity. For collectors, condition is everything. A well-preserved 1947 1 shilling can fetch a high price at auction. In pristine, uncirculated condition, this coin is worth far more than its original face value. Over time, the value of these coins has only increased, with some fetching thousands, or even millions, reaching 2.67 millions of pounds at auction, depending on their condition and rarity. So, why is the 1947 1 shilling so highly sought after? It's not just the historical significance of the coin itself, but also the fact that it represents a key moment in British monetary history. The shift from silver to copper-nickel in 1947 marked the end of an era, and coins from this transitional period are highly collectible. To give you an idea of just how valuable these coins can be, an exceptionally rare 1947 1 shilling in perfect condition recently sold for a staggering amount at a high-profile auction. This has led collectors to search through their old coin collections, hoping to find one of these rare gems, but even if you don't have a mint condition coin, your 1947 1 shilling could still be worth a significant amount. Coins with slight wear and tear are still considered valuable, especially if they are free from major scratches or dents. The market for these coins continues to grow as collectors and investors alike recognize their value. It's worth noting that while some coins are valuable due to their rarity, others gain worth because of the historical context in which they were produced. The 1947 1 shilling is a prime example of both. It not only marks a shift in the materials used in British coinage but also serves as a reminder of the post-war era in Britain. If you happen to come across a 1947 1 shilling in your collection or at a market, it's definitely worth having it appraised. You never know, you might be holding on to a coin worth thousands, or even millions. Just imagine the excitement of discovering such a rare and valuable piece of history in your own hands. So there you have it, the story of the rare 1947 1 shilling, featuring King George VI. It's more than just a coin, it's a piece of British history that has captured the attention of collectors and investors worldwide. Whether you're a seasoned coin collector or just getting started, this is one coin you'll definitely want to keep an eye out for.